Hey everybody, my name's Ed, Old School Comic Book Reviews. I hope this one turns out. It's a nice day, so I thought I'd try to get out of the house a little bit. I'm down here at the beach. We're here at the dog park. You can see the beautiful skyline back there. But I wanted to talk about comics today. So, what we have here today is Catwoman Selina's Big Score from DC Comics. This came out around 2003-ish. I should have written it down. 2002. It's written and illustrated by Darwyn, Cooke, and the colors are by Matt Hollingsworth. The story takes place right before the revamp that Ed Brubaker did with Darwyn Cooke. And it's pretty interesting. It's a really fun comic. It's a lot different than your normal superhero or Batman type story. Batman does not appear in this story at all, and that's fine. You know, you don't really miss him. The plot here has a lot more in common to do with, like, with thrillers, like crime thrillers, like a heist movie. That's what it really is. It's really a caper movie. It's pretty much cut from the same cloth as films like The Italian Job or Ocean's 11. I don't know, the Heat, Out of Sight, stuff like that. Stuff where the movie is about the big heist or the big con or, pulling off the big job. It's not a lot of, superhero versus supervillain stuff, not a lot of, soap opera things or anything like that. It's really a straightforward crime drama. You get some decent characterization in here, some nice suspense. The story's not perfect, but it is very, very entertaining. It starts off, it takes place, like I said, right before the early 2000s Catwoman series. And where this opens up, Selina is out of the country, and everyone thinks that Catwoman is dead. She's broke. She, has no money, so she decides to go back to Gotham, where at least she has a few contacts, and maybe she can hustle up on something. She gets a lead on a possible caper that has to do with mob money being on some train, and she decides to put together a small crew of a few guys that she thinks can help her pull it off. One of these guys is this guy right here, this Lee Marvin looking dude named Stark. This is another younger guy that she recruits, and there's another man who shows up a little bit later on in the story named Detective Slam Bradley. And like I said, it's pretty good. You get some interesting character bits, you get your suspense, and it's pretty interesting the way they portray Selina's relationship with both Lee Marvin, with both Stark and the Slam Bradley character. It's basically suggested that it's pretty much stated that Stark and Selina have this old history together. It's kind of suggested that he helped her, learn her, craft as a cat burglar and as a thief. Um, they may or may not have had feelings for each other. There's other things going on, like I said, with Slam Bradley. And like I said, it's one of these things where it's okay, we put together the plan, we put together the crew, we go over everything should go smoothly, and then of course nothing goes smoothly. So it's a real fun story. There's some missteps here and there as far as the dialogue, a couple of places where it's a little bit shaky, it's not as tight as it could have been, and there's a couple of points in the plot where things could maybe have been spelt out a little bit better. But on the whole, it's a really, really good story. I really appreciate the way they handle Selina in this particular story. She's portrayed as somebody who's smart, who's strong, who's confident, who's sexy. She has her flaws and things, and of course, she's morally ambiguous. But at the same time, the character is not portrayed as either just being eye candy or being, a helpless damsel in distress or anything like that. I really like the fact on that note, I like the fact that they were able to portray the character as being, cute and sexy at the same time without making her look, trashy or skanky or slutty, you know what I mean? It's also interesting the way the male characters were handled as well. You get Stark, who's really cut from that old school sense of middle-aged cool. He's the sharp guy with the suits, who's confident, who's not afraid to, just step into somebody, if that's what they deserve. You've got that calm, that old school type of calm, confident male masculinity going on. You also get Slam Bradley, who's a different sort of hard-boiled guy, who's portrayed as a guy who's been through a lot of rough things in his life, but at the same time, somebody who's able to meet his challenges with a certain amount, who's able to face them head on. And then, like I said, the male-female relationships here are a lot more believable, even though obviously it's just a comic book and it's just an action thing. It's a lot more believable than you would get in certain other superhero comics that are supposed to be quote unquote mature or what have you. Let's see here. Like I said, the story was written and drawn by Darwyn Cooke, and a lot of what makes it work is his art. Darwyn he's coming from a place, he's done comics before, but he's also coming from a place where he has worked in animation. He's worked as a god damn it. He's worked in animation. He's worked as a graphic designer. He's done advertising work. So you really see where he's able to pull off several different art influences and bring them all together. His style is a lot of times considered retro, but at the same time, I think it's very sophisticated and contemporary as well. He's able to bring in, like I said, lots of old things. Maybe I see a little bit of newspaper art type stuff, some Milton Caniff influence, definitely Alex Toth. In my mind, I see a little bit of Jim Steranko as well. And it's really just really lovely to look at. Like I said, the colors also bring it out a lot. And here, you're just seeing a guy who's able to do lots of different things and do them well. The storytelling works very well as far as being able to tell what the characters are doing and where they're at, and be able to tell, everybody looks different. It's a weird thing to talk about in a comic, but sometimes there are certain artists, even artists who I like a lot, tend to draw characters that all look the same. Here, all of Darwyn's characters are very different and distinct looking. There's a half a dozen middle-aged dudes walking around, and all of them look very, very different. They all have their own body language as well as different facial types and things like that. So okay, like I said, it's a very sharp comic. I don't think it's in print anymore. You might be able to find it online, but that's it. Selina's Big Score, Darwyn Cooke, and Matt Hollingsworth. That's it. Tell me what you think, and everybody have a great day.